What's going on, everybody? I'm Primal Liquid here with another guide for Atelier Sophie 2. And in this video, I'm going to be showing you guys how to make not only one, but the two best buffing items in the game, including what effects to go for, what traits to use, and just generally how to get them. So, let's jump into it, shall we? Now, before we start, there are two things you are going to want to do first and foremost. The first one is you are going to want a Confeito, and this is going to be pretty much the base for spreading traits around these two items. And the reason for that is the first item we're going to look at actually uses this as an ingredient on its own, and the second item that we're going to make actually uses the Black Agujero, which actually uses the Confeito. So we can actually create the Black Agujero just from using the Confeito, so we can get the traits pretty easily on both of these. Ideally aim for as much quality as possible along with effects and elemental components. Now, why do we use these traits? Well, firstly, it's a buffing item. So we use Demon Sonic to short the wait time by 75%. It does reduce the item's power by 50, but it's not healing, it's not doing damage, item power does not matter. The only thing that matters is the actual effects, which item power does not come into. So that's why we use that, just so we can basically spam the items. For traits, we're going to be using Cyan Finesse, which applies 1 stack of a random secondary element resistance increase and 2 random buffs. So straight off the bat, you know, there's 3 buffs for us right there. You know, we've got 1 element resistance and then 2 random buffs. And then we use Pure White Glory, which is essentially the max level version of this, where it applies 1 stack of all status increases, random resistance increase, and it gives us 3 random buffs. So straight off the bat, just with these 2 traits, we're getting about 8 or 9 different buffs just from these alone. That's not even taking into account the actual items that we're going to be making, and that's why they are very, very important. Now, when it comes to actual items, there are 2 that we're going to make. One with Sophie and one with Plocta. So let's take a look at the one that we're going to be making with Sophie first, which it doesn't seem like I saved. Whoops. Okay, in that case, we'll have to find it down the list. So the first one is going to be the Spiritweave cloth. The reason we're going to be making this one is simply due to the fact, firstly, it's usable on everybody, so it does target all the party. We gain a small speed increase. Make sure you don't get the Consume MP one, otherwise that's going to be pretty bad. So, small speed increase, not ideal, but it's something, right? And then after that, we're going to be gaining the Snow White Garment ability, which gives us 3 stacks of defense increase and evasion rate increase. This is going to be really, really important for playing Legendary difficulty, because especially with some bosses, they hit like trucks and they hit pretty damn fast. So being able to either evade or have, you know, higher defense is very, very good for them. Now, when it comes to wind, this one's actually a little interesting. So firstly, the very starting ability is 1 stack of damage reduction. The upgraded ability for that is 2 stacks of damage reduction. However, if you go to the third one, it only applies 1 stack each of fire, ice, lightning, and wind resistance. Now, on paper, you might think, oh, high tier ability, it's better. No, not quite. And the reason I say that is we're going to be gaining the elemental resistances from all the other traits and things like that. So what I would actually suggest doing is going for the Spirit Protection, which applies 2 stacks of damage reduction. Just because, you know, it means less damage from everything, including physical attacks, basically. So that's why I would suggest that one instead. The other item that we're going to make is actually going to be one of Plocta's, and it's the Fire Dragon Salve. Now, this one is unfortunately only usable on a single target, so it doesn't target the whole party. They both use the same traits, by the way, as I mentioned. Now, why are we using the Fire Dragon Salve? Well, this is where things get insane. So, firstly, we're going to get 3 stacks of HP regeneration from it, which you know, it isn't really acquired, especially with the healing item, which I also made a video about if you want to check the playlist down below in the description. So the HP regen, not all that important. So what do we actually need from it? Well, this is pretty much what we want the most from this, which is the fire-breathing dragon ability. Now it increases your normal attack count by 3 and applies 3 stacks of HP increase. So not only is this going to massively increase your total HP pool, but it's going to give you 3 extra physical attacks. Combine this with a really good physical build and you're going to be dealing, you know, an easy 20-30,000 damage just with regular attacks. The person this works best on is Ramazal, because Ramazal's actually got the skill Gear Shift, which will also increase her attacks by 3, giving her a total of 10 attacks if you actually have her weapon with the +3 as well. It is incredibly broken with her. Like, seriously, it's to the point it's basically on the level of a Twilight Prism, basically, and that's really saying something. Now, when it comes to fire abilities, there are attack increases, or all status increases. The last one is applies 5 stacks of attack increase but consumes 50% of HP. Now, to me, this one isn't really that worth it, to be fair, because we are still going to be gaining the attack increases from traits as well, along with the Spiritweave cloth. So I don't recommend going with this because 50% of your health on Legendary is quite a lot. Now, yes, it will auto-trigger the Leberstrahl healing item, but again, I think it's better to go for the all status increase as opposed to just attack. Your attack is going to be maxed either way, so you might as well get some extra defense, some extra speed, and things like that, just for survivability. So I do suggest stopping with fire at level 18. So let's jump into it and actually make them, shall we? I'll start off with the Fire Dragon Cell first. We are going to be using the Growlithe Catalyst, just because reaching the higher tier effects is easier. Now, when it comes to Indracom, you want a really good gathered one. And when I say gathered, I mean via major gathering. The Sun Powder doesn't really matter a whole lot, so I'm just going to go with a nice high quality version, which, you know what, we'll go with that because it's got lightning on. For dragon materials, again, we're going to go for high quality. I'm going to use this Dragon's Eye just because it's more thunder. You can start looking through and maybe using, you know, one with a little bit of fire if you want. I prefer just to go for the easy thunder, and this one's got 2 corner stars on its own, so we're going to take that. Now, when it comes to spices, this is where we're going to use the Confeiter we made, simply due to the fact that it's the easiest item to get the actual traits on. Now, with that said, let's go ahead and get these placed, and then I will be straight back to talk you through all the extra ingredients I placed down. Okay, so we've got all the ingredients placed down now. Now, as you can see, I still have some red ingredients usable, but we are going to be stopping at the all stats up Al ability, simply due to the fact, you know, it's much better to get an all-round stat increase as opposed to just attack. So I'm not going to be placing these 2 down. What I am going to be doing now, though, is I'm just going to fill in a few of the leftover nodes on the field, simply due to the fact, you know, I really want to get the super syntheses if possible. If we don't, we don't. It's not the end of the world for us. So we're just gonna slowly place some down like that. Okay, now, can't really get the last 2 without actually, you know, ruining my lightning element, so I'm not going to worry about that, and we're just going to synthesize. Quality isn't honestly all that important when it comes to buffing items, because yes, quality does normally impact items. We don't care about numbers in this situation, we only care about the buffs, so quality is not all that important. Again, for traits, Demon Sonic, Cyan Finesse, and Pure White Glory. And with that, we're going to just synthesize it. If we get the super syntheses, then nice. It just means we're all around 999. If not, then okay, we did. Sweet. So, there we go. We have the first one made. Now, this is usable by 5 characters in total. So, what I'm going to do now is we're going to go to Perker's Emporium, and we're going to duplicate it, because we did only gain 2 of them. And we really, really, really want to have one of these on every character. So, date. Okay, so got 2. We're going to make another 4. This lets me equip one on every character, and also gives me 1 spare, which I can simply lock. Right, we have one more item to make, which is the Spiritweave cloth. And this one is honestly pretty easy to make. It's really not going to be that difficult. We are going to be using the Grandlia Catalyst again. Oops, which element was I? Oh yeah, so it's wind that I need to only get the second effect. Nearly forgot for a second there. Okay, now when it comes to your Wised Smaraged, you should honestly really create a better one. I'm lazy, I'm not going to do that, and it's only wind, so it's not the end of the world. We have a new alot, and this comes from seeds. If I'm not mistaken, I think this is the Mystic Seed that gives these, but I could be wrong on that, so please do not quote me. Now, when it comes to magical, this is where we're going to be using our Black Agogero, which contains our traits, basically. So we're going to select that. Now, at this point, I do have a lot of light element effects, so I don't think we really need to go for any more of them. So what I'm going to do for cloth is we're going to use a Gerardvina. The reason for that is quite simple. It's got wind element, and it also has some water element as well, which is going to come in handy. So let's get these placed, and then we'll be right back again. Okay, so everything's placed down now. As you can see, I did stop at Spirit's Protection, simply due to the fact we don't actually want the final tier effect for this cloth. We only want the Spirit's Protection for the basic damage reduction rather than the elements, because we are going to be gaining all of that from traits. Snow White Garment is maxed, Speed Up is maxed as well, so we're not going to place any more of the wind elements, and unfortunately I can't really place any of, you know, the other elements here, just because like the lightning will end up messing up my actual, you know, light or ice areas. So we're just going to leave that, and we're going to synthesize as is. Again, quality, while it's nice to get 999, isn't actually required, because, you know, again, we're only getting buffs here. So if we get the super synthesis, then nice. If not, then, you know, it's not the end of the world. So once again, we are using Demon Sonic, Saiyan Finesse, and Pure White Glory for the traits, simply due to the fact a heck of a lot more buffs, and because the Spiritweave cloth is going to be spread out across the whole party, we're really going to get quite a lot from this. So we'll synthesize. Hopefully we did get the super synth. Nice. Even though it doesn't really do anything, it just looks nice on paper, you know, having all your items at 999 quality. So this can actually be used by 4 characters. So what I'm going to do is we're going to go to Poke's Emporium, and you've guessed it, we are going to duplicate this as well. And that is going to be it for this video, everybody. This is how you make the 2 best buffing items in the game, what effects to get, what traits to go for, and just generally how to go about it. Still though, I do hope you have enjoyed the video, and I hope it's helped. If it has, then please be sure to hit that like button and leave a comment down below. Let me know what you think of these trait choices and item choices. And of course, if you are new to the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on any more content. As always though, everybody, thank you for watching, and I'll see you soon.